But the one thing I always say is it's never late to make changes in your diet, with your movement. It's really important, and the time is now, whether you're 25, 45 or 65. It's never late to build muscle. Muscle is our vessel of longevity. It's what's going to give us mobility, functionality when we're much older. So prioritize it at any age. Don't be scared of working out, of going to the gym. Don't be reluctant to make changes to your diet. The time is always now.
Welcome back to In Our Wellness Era. I'm Aashnee, the co-founder of MediTours. Today we have Sophia Kohli with us, who is a clinical nutritionist. Sophia is not here to give you another detox plan or to tell you what to cut out, but she's here to tell you what your body actually needs, backed by science and not trends. So thank you for being here, Sophia.
Of course.
So, Sophia, I wanted to understand that gut health has become such a hot topic today.
Yes.
Everyone's talking about bloating, not feeling energized, it's inflammation. So why is this really happening, and what can we really do to kind of solve it?
Great question. First thing to know is that bloating is common. It's not normal. Okay. Why do we get bloated? We get bloated when we eat foods which trigger our gut. That's number one. What are some foods which trigger our gut? Gluten can be inflammatory for many. Dairy can again be inflammatory for many. Sometimes eliminating the direct food trigger is going to help your gut. So that's important to know. Second, what I'm a big advocate of is introducing enough gut microdiversity. So what that means is we eat the rainbow of fruits, vegetables, grains and meats. That makes us gain more gut microflora. And that's going to be great for your general gut health. So definitely, if you remove food triggers, introduce an anti-inflammatory diet, your gut's going to thank you for that.
So I completely understand this, because even as per Ayurveda, my body type is kind of known as a Pitta body type, and I'm asked to eat more alkaline food, like something which is more naturally soothing, like coconut water or avocados, etc. So that kind of lines my stomach. Earlier, I used to actually have tea on an empty stomach, and they always say caffeine is really bad to have on an empty stomach because it leads to acidity and migraines. But a very big factor in this is stress, Sophia. Like, a lot of people who are stressed have a lot of gut issues, and I remember having a time when I was really stressed and I used to have a very leaky gut and like constant migraines. Like, I would wake up with like a constant migraine. Is there some connection to that?
Honestly, this is very important to know. Our gut is directly linked to our brain. We have something called a gut-brain axis. And actually, our gut is the second largest nerve center of our body. So when your brain is stressed, when you feel that stress, it's going to impact your gut. Our body, when we're stressed, goes into fight or flight mode. Your digestion is the last thing that it's thinking of. It's in fight mode. And that means your digestion is going to, become slower. You are not going to be able to absorb the nutrients. That's number one. Number two is we have higher cortisol when we're stressed. Higher cortisol is going to lead to higher insulin, is going to lead to more fat storage in our bodies. And number two, you're not going to sleep enough. And sleep is going to take all your other health goals for a toss as well. So when you are stressed, you are actually affecting your entire health parameters, and definitely food is not going to be prioritized, and it's not going to be absorbed in the best way.
So that's what we kind of do at MediTours, Sophia. We curate wellness and well-being retreats and experiences that take people away from their stressful environment. So we kind of do founder retreats for the whole startup and founder community, because I feel as founders, we're all constantly wired and stressed. We also take people away from their corporate world or their business world sometimes, because I feel a change in environment in nature really helps with their mental well-being. Of course, backed by the right nutrition, the right physio rehab, the right mindfulness, yoga, meditation. So these curated experiences is what we really concentrate on to ensure it's a more holistic approach for the individuals.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I actually want to talk about another very important topic, which is blood sugar. And it's not really always related to diabetes. It causes a lot of havoc in terms of your energy, in terms of spikes. So what do we really do about this?
Definitely. Blood sugar is not just a diabetic patient's problem. It is something that all of us need to take care of. Simply put, when we eat either foods which are high carb or a very large quantity of carbs, our blood sugar is going to rise. When it rises, it's going to have a sharp fall. When it has a sharp fall, your energy levels crash, which means you are fatigued quicker. Your appetite hormones are disrupted. You're going to have sweet cravings. You know, many a times when you start your morning with a very sugary breakfast, you're going to crave sugar for the rest of the day. And it's going to make you more irritable when you have these falls. So in the short term, it's going to affect these parameters. In the long term, again, consistently high blood sugar is going to have consistently higher insulin in your body. When you have high insulin over time, you're going to develop something called insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance is a precursor to diabetes. India is the diabetes capital of the world. So definitely we have to make sure we don't get to a stage of insulin resistance. And we also have a lot of PCOS in Indian women. And PCOS is linked to insulin resistance. When you take care of insulin resistance, you're going to help alleviate some of your symptoms of PCOS. So definitely important for everyone to take care of.
So if may ask, can you help me understand some food that you feel are very high in blood sugar that can cause these spikes very quickly?
Definitely. I mean, simple carbs, right, which is going to be your sugar, your honey even, doesn't matter if it's organic, it is going to cause high spikes in your sugar. Biscuits, processed foods, snacks, very, very high sugar, and you're going to have those crashes because it's pre-digested, pre-processed, and then introduced to your body. That's why I always like whole foods as number one, and then once in a while, it's okay.
So Sophia, how can we regulate these blood sugar spikes, and can you give us some foods, the whole foods that you spoke about, that we could include in our diet for the same?
You know, there's no one whole food, but what's going to help you with your blood sugar is eating a balanced meal. That means when you eat this carb, you eat it with some fats, whether it's nuts or seeds, and you eat it with enough protein. That is the only thing that's going to prevent your spike going like that, and it's going to go like that. And that's the easiest fix.
So give us some insider info on what would your breakfast, lunch and dinner be, A, and B, as vegetarians we feel that we don't get enough protein, right? So what would be the good protein sources for someone who's a vegetarian and does not necessarily even eat eggs?
Fair enough. I start my breakfast, number one, with protein and healthy fats. That's really important. My healthy fats is almond butter. I like an unsweetened almond butter. I do like a sourdough in the morning. I usually do workout, and when you work out, you have to fuel with some carbs after that as well. So almond butter, sourdough, eggs. I love eggs. I'm a meat eater, so that's an easy source of protein for me. And sometimes maybe half an avocado, maybe a little bit of fruit if I feel like I need it. But I usually like to stick, whether it's lunch, dinner or breakfast, I like to have one source of carbs in that meal.
So what is your source of carbs?
It changes. So like with lunch, sometimes I have quinoa, sometimes I have roti, whether it's jawar, bajra, sometimes it's just regular khapli atta. For dinner, I usually like to go slightly lower on carbs. And I do that by maybe I have like a protein pasta. You know, maybe I don't have a source of carbs and I just do a lot of protein and a lot of veggies. My protein is usually chicken or fish. When you're vegetarian, you have so many sauces. You have edamame, you have tofu, you have paneer, you have Greek yogurt as well. Great in the morning, great as a snack in the middle of the day as well. So you don't have a shortage of sauces. What's important when you're vegetarian is that you eat enough variation. So you eat your tofu, your paneer, your chia seeds. Seeds are also high in protein, some nuts as well. You eat dahi, homemade or Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is slightly more concentrated. And then if you do need, you can also supplement with protein powders. When you do that, you can do it with clean protein powders. I don't like ones with too many ingredients.
So are you a plant protein person, or you're okay with the whey and the isolate protein?
It's not about me, it's about the client. Now, if a person has an inflamed gut, whey can sometimes be more inflammatory. So I would never suggest that for someone who is already experiencing acidity, bloating, heaviness in their gut. Would not recommend whey for them. Plant protein is lighter to digest. It is slightly less absorbed by the body, but it's still a great source. Most of them are made with pea protein or brown rice, great, and there are a lot of new great brands in the market which are clean.
So I recently found out that there's a wrong data point on protein in the market. Can you correct me?
Great question. Really good that you know that. Generally in India, it is assumed that 0.8 grams per kg of body weight is adequate protein. It's what you need to have adequate muscle mass, it's what you need to maintain it and possibly even build it. Now that's an absolute myth. USA has just come out with guidelines that up this to 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kg body weight. What that means is that we need to be consuming that to maintain our muscle mass, and we need to eat more than that if we want to build muscle mass. And we as Indians definitely have a protein insufficiency in our diet. We are more carbohydrate heavy in our diets, whether you're vegetarian or non-vegetarian, and it's definitely something to be intentioned about when you plate each of your meals and something to take care of.
So does muscle mass help in metabolism in any way?
I mean, a lot of people complain about, I have a slow metabolism. How come when I eat the same amount as my friend, she is XYZ and I'm gaining weight, And what that comes down to is sometimes when you don't have enough muscle mass, your BMR is going to be lower. And how do you increase it? You increase it by gaining more muscle mass. And you do that by strength training, you do that by eating enough protein, and you do that by even getting enough sleep, as simple as that. Getting enough sleep is going to help with your protein synthesis at night.
So Sophia, your skin is actually a mirror of your gut, right? So
absolutely.
Why are people spending tons and thousands of rupees on like skincare products, treatments, etc. when they actually have to solve something internally?
Absolutely. I mean, your glow genuinely does start from within. If you have dry skin, your first fix shouldn't just be a nourishing thick cream. It should actually be making sure you're getting enough hydration in your diet, making sure you do have omega-3s. Omega-3s do create that hydration from within in your skin barrier. That's number one. If you have dull skin, women very commonly are deficient in iron in India, and it's really important to make sure your gut is functioning well so that you're able to absorb the iron. You're eating enough iron-rich sources. With non-vegetarians, that's meat. With vegetarians, there's apricots, there's some seeds like chia seeds, flax seeds, there's even some sprout variations which are important for iron. Making sure you're eating enough iron. And if you are eating too much sugar, your skin's gonna break out. So sugar is very inflammatory. That's something that we all know. Definitely reducing your sugar intake is going to lower inflammatory reactions on your skin. So you're not going to have acne breakouts on your face, and your hives are going to get, slightly less as well.
So I tend to get acne just before I'm about to get my periods. Like I don't usually break out other than that. It's just like maybe a week or so before my periods. Is that anywhere connected to nutrition, or it's just hormonal?
So it is our hormonal fluctuations. In that last period before you get your cycle, you are in your luteal phase where you have sharp rises and dips in your hormones, and that's going to trigger the reaction. Some people get it worse than others. Some people get PMS worse than others as well. Cramping, bloating, feelings of high fatigue, mood changes, acne as well. These are common, and they're less linked to the direct food that you're eating in that period and more linked towards your hormones.
Because it's funny, because all Indian parents think that when you break out into acne, it's something to do with you not eating right. They never completely blame it on or peg it to an hormonal imbalance. They're like, no, you ate that pizza or you must have eaten something off, and which is why you're breaking out into so much acne.
I agree. So you can of course break out, if you are eating too much sugar, if something is wrong in your gut. Sometimes when you have like a leaky gut, you have inflammation in your gut, it's going to trigger on your skin. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is it sometimes is affected by our hormones. Our hormones then affect our insulin, and our insulin fluctuations also affect our acne. So it's a mixed thing. You have to identify what's your trigger.
Got it.
And that's where, you know, a medical opinion comes in as well.
See, the camera is not rolling and not watching this, and if I wanted to be real with you, and you're not a nutritionist now, what is your cheat meal?
Okay, so I don't believe in cheat meals. I don't put foods in categories of good and bad. If I'm at a wedding, you're going to see me at a chart counter. If I'm traveling, I may want a croissant in the morning. I don't put these foods in good and bad. What's important to me is balancing your macros through the day. So that means I eat adequate protein. So if I'm eating my chart at a wedding, I'm going to find protein and I'm going to eat that too. If I'm eating a big croissant in the morning with some protein and fats, my next meal is not going to be carb heavy. So instead of, you know, saying this is a cheat meal, it's a good meal. It's what makes me happy, and nutrition is also what makes you happy. But I'm going to balance my macros and be a little mindful about the next meal or the meal before that.
So what's this ridiculous myth that you keep hearing often, but you can't like hide your feelings about?
Okay, so when clients come to me as a nutritionist in their first consult and they eat abysmal low levels of protein, when I introduce not even what I think is gold standard levels for them, even if I increase it by, let's say, get them to even 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight, they ask me, is it going to affect my kidneys? Now, that's an absolute myth. Protein, adequate protein in a healthy person is not going to affect your kidneys, your other markers. It's very, very good, and your body actually needs it. Another one is if I introduce creatine in someone's diet based on need. Another question is it going to affect my kidneys? If you are again healthy, creatine is one of the safest and most research supplements. I did my master's research project on it as well. It is great for muscle gain, strength, cognition for many people. And definitely it is a myth that it's going to harm your body and have these side effects.
So what is one thing everyone should know about their body and food that they have never been taught before?
So the one thing, I don't know if it's a lesson, but the one thing I always say is it's never late to make changes in your diet, with your movement. It's really important, and the time is now, whether you're 25, 45 or 65. It's never late to build muscle. Muscle is our vessel of longevity. It's what's going to give us mobility, functionality when we're much older. So prioritize it at any age. Don't be scared of working out, of going to the gym. Don't be reluctant to make changes to your diet. The time is always now.
So I think today people finally learned the right numbers of your protein intake. So I'm glad that you shared that with us, Sophia. So
Of course.
If this resonated with you, please like, save and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.